Hey everybody. I wanted to talk about some striking similarities in tools across the United States. Now, what they've stated. Now, I've showed you before about the pivot and fixed insert press. That's the antler tine like this. And you have one antler tine that's a little bit longer. Is beneficial, so you don't have to. You can just press it along here, but I like it where I can, if I'm moving something around, I can just put my arm across here and hold it there. So anyways, I talked about that. But what we haven't talked about is the other arrow shaft wrenches that are out there and that are straight. Now, I'm not arguing that that these tools weren't used for that purpose at any point along the way. I just never had to use one. But there's also some things that are confusing on those wrenches. Okay. Now, one thing is the straight ones. This one's an example of one that's out of Murray Springs, and from what Lithics Casting Lab stated was that it's the only one linked to a Clovis site. Now, this is the scale. It's 11 inches. I think this is actually a little short than the one now. What they're calling it at Lithic Casting Labs, a number of these, they're calling them perforated staffs because of the length. Now, the hole in the side is bigger. Typically the ones that we're seeing with the antler like this range from roughly 7/16 to a ½ inch diameter in the hole. This is an inch to inch and 3/16 is what the dimensions of this were in the actual artifact. So I'm roughing this out. Eventually I'll get it down exact. But what's interesting is all the way over in Russia, Clovis site, is we have these guys. Now there's a bigger one than this one. This was the smaller one, bigger one. And I was demonstrating, I'm not going to go over it again. I demonstrated the use of this, I believed, as a secondary tool. And I have to work on this. I put a chisel on the end of this. The one in the Murray site is a little bit more tapered and rounded, but I'll eventually get that. But I just wanted to show you something here. Now, for one that's really big like this, and if you read up on what the archaeologists state, there's no total drawn conclusion as to these things being shaft wrenches. It's just speculation. Everything's speculation. So this is actually a little long. I'm going to shorten this up as I bring it back down. It's one of my older dogwood billets that I'm working on, and I have shown some wood pieces that are bigger, not quite this big, and I'll even reduce that a little bit, but I just wanted to demonstrate something here. Okay. Take this piece here, some raw stuff. It's just it's a little bit hard. I think it's raw Burlington, as a matter of fact. Okay. Now we do the same principle here. I grab it and I'm able to push it in, and this just a little tad short even. It could handle being a little bit longer. I went just a little short. Fits right under, tucked right under there. And they're calling these perforated staffs is another thing to look for. And it is amazing, the discovery. Like, go to Lithic Casting Lab, look at some of them that they have on there in North America, and looking over in Europe with the writing and the engraving. I'll pull up the original articles and share them as well. But just amazing. So, and it's kind of like these round stones that are found everywhere. Are all stones that show use on them used in flint knapping? No. They're also used for pecking and they're used for a number of different things. Hides, you know, we can tell on the hides because they're polished typically, but as far as pecking and everything else, but undoubtedly, and this, I believe that's the same thing with this. Man had a toolkit that he had multiple uses for. Actually, this stone is a little too small, because with this bigger piece and a bigger one that's like this, that they have in the record of the stats, of a bigger piece, you're able to put even a lot more gas on. Give me my oversized. Did you see that? Look at that. And there we go, folks. But what we haven't been seeing, who's been putting up all of the wood that's in the archaeological record? This is wood. One, it broke, you know, it broke. There we go. Put that together. We aren't talking about a little tiny flake in somebody's, you're doing in the hand trying to shoot. We're talking about big pieces. Now I have another thing. I'm running out of daylight and time on my battery that I'm going to demonstrate when I finish this up as well, and that's with it used in conjunction with an anvil, of popping it in the side in a hole like this, turning it to the side like this. I'll do it from this side so you can see. Now this is inside because there's a reason, I believe, why we're seeing a consistency in shapes across North America into Russia. This was found in Arizona. They're the only one supposedly in a Clovis site, but not. That's in United States. Russia has got them in Clovis sites. Not quite as big, but I demonstrated the use of this one as a secondary tool inserting, and I believe this is all a way of flint knapping. So wait till you see what happens when I put this inside the anvil, turn it to the side. Now this is supported. Again, it's like replacing 3 people or 2 people doing the process. You have the increase in accuracy from indirect percussion. You're not missing. So now you have the anvil on the side, this stuck into it, and now you're able to hold a bigger piece, a real big piece, and pow! So, also, there's a other theory that I have to test yet, but I've explained a long time ago. It's documented, I've published it, about my theory about net weights, the things that are pulling up as networks. There's clearly some that are net weights, that show net weights, that show, you know, it's no other use, but there's also some that are classified as net weights that have a hole through the middle, and the use that's on them isn't consistent with just getting drug along the bottom. And I believe that is also a secondary tool, running a shaft into the center and putting it into one of these, or one of these, a smaller version, and using it for indirect percussion as well.